So, Shay, glad to have you back. Before we get going with the supporters, what have you made of this season? And also, what has been your favourite moment?
Well, you've got to congratulate Arsenal, haven't you? I think. Well, you do. You always congratulate the winners, don't you? It's been so long. I think was it second 3 years on the bounce, and I don't know, bottle jobs, call them what you want. But now you got to say congratulations. They got the job done. They got it over the line. And you have to give them great credit because you know, whoever wins the league, you got to say well done. And yes, people would argue it's not vintage Arsenal or it's not a vintage Premier League this season, perhaps. But I don't care how you get the job done, you get it over the line, and Arteta and his team have done that. So great credit to him for that. Maybe he'll adapt next season and try and play a bit more. Maybe I don't know what's the word.
You said it.
Offensive football and try and play a bit more expansive maybe and add a few more maybe flair players to the sort of forward line and try and win it differently. But I think what confidence and belief that Arsenal will get from this winning the league, then it'll hold them in good stead for next season. I think it'll be you know, for these players to get the belief they go on and maybe do it again. I'm trying to think moment of the season. What sticks out for a moment of the season? It's difficult. Save of the season? Probably Raya's save. I think it was a Brighton against Brighton. I think that save was, for me, was phenomenal. I mean, Pickford deserves a mention, the one at Newcastle.
Yeah.
I tried not to mention that one, but as an ex-Sunderland player and obviously doing it up at Newcastle. But I think Raya, I think this season had been, for me, the standout goalkeeper, and that save against Brighton was world class. And I think for one of the reasons they won the league, and I do believe that Raya has had a brilliant season, and he's up there with some of the brilliant goalkeepers in the past at Arsenal.
Well, you two answers with Arsenal. So let's start with Arsenal. We've got Matt, the Arsenal fan. 22 years without winning the Premier League, got it done. Parade yesterday looked fantastic. All the Gooners out to celebrate, and rightly so. But we'll start with the Champions League final from a couple of days ago, Matt. I mean, what's your feeling around losing the final? How do you feel about it?
It was devastating, especially when you're that close. You know, you've done all the hard work, and for it to come down to a couple of 12-yard kicks, you know, we were on the verge of basically being immortality, and that's what hurts the most. Not so much the concept of losing, but how close we were to what could have been. I was there, and coming out the ground, obviously people were heartbroken, speechless. But everyone that I spoke to said that they were as proud as they were gutted. We know collectively as a fan base, like it's going to be dark tonight and light in the morning, that this team will be back at some point sooner rather than later. There is belief amongst us. We're so together. I actually want to quote one of the board members, Ben Winston, who said he remembers the feeling leaving Paris in 2006, but that was the end of an era, and this is the beginning of one. And I think that the parade came at a good time because it gave the players time to reflect on what they've done, what they've achieved this season, despite it ending on a low. And I think it showed them how together we all are, how connected this fan base are.
I was there covering the game, and I had this feeling going into the game that everyone you spoke to with Arsenal fans, and I should make this point actually, flew out with Arsenal fans, flew back, saw them. I was there on Thursday. They were around us in the ground. They were absolutely brilliant. And the reason I say that is because Arsenal fans get so much stick, don't they, for being that fan base online. I think we probably should all remember that there's all cranks online, isn't there, from every set of supporters, including Arsenal and my own. But the Arsenal fans absolutely were brilliant with me and, you know, our team all the way through, so I should mention that. But the feeling I got going into the game was almost that it was like, not a free hit, but you were just so happy and relieved to get the league done. And after the game, I saw some of your staff. I saw Stuart, the photographer, who's now my good friend after I gave him a bit of stick a few years ago. And it was that feeling of like, you know, and then you had the parade yesterday, I've seen the scenes there. It didn't feel like there was that much disappointment. It didn't feel like devastating. I've been there with Liverpool as a Liverpool fan the last probably 5 or 6 years, a couple of times lost Champions League finals, and it felt like, felt like it took me weeks to get over. Whereas with Arsenal, it didn't feel like that. And I think it's a good thing in a way.
Like you say, it wasn't a free hit, but it would have just been the cherry on top. But there's, like I said, there's just a sense in us that we're just getting started, and we will be back there soon. I think we'll be in Madrid next year. There's a bold prediction.
Okay, I'll ask you that because I want to get to know the nitty-gritty of the game and the performance.
Yeah.
Do you think you can win the Champions League playing like that?
Listen, 100%. I think it was a tactical masterclass that at the end of the day...
It wasn't.
You don't think so?
One shot on target, 20% of the ball.
I tell you what, and you know what? I probably shouldn't have been so forthright there. If you win that, it's seen as a tactical masterclass. That's a Mourinho masterclass. You know, and you think of how highly regarded, say, Brian Clough is in this country for what he did in European Cup finals and win it with nothing. They won it that type of way. They were that type of team. But what I would say is, I don't know if it's Arteta or it's the actual players you've got in your attack are not quite good enough. But you had a favourable run to get there. I think, and then obviously you didn't lose to PSG. To not lose a game in the Champions League is unbelievable and not win it. But I just think you've got to get better attackers, or you've got to
But then,
go for it a little bit more.
Knowing that we don't have the attack that PSG, I mean, their attack is as good as our defence, maybe you could say. Knowing that we haven't got that attacking threat like they do, you've got to adjust tactically, and we did that, and we held them to, you know, all they got was a penalty. I wasn't at any point thinking, oh, we're under the cosh here. I think it was a tactic, and we convert our penalties and we win, and it is a tactical masterclass. If you went at PSG, they would have exposed us like they did to Inter in the final last year, beat them 5-0. You can't go toe-to-toe with someone like that. They'll absolutely punish you on the attack. And I think we adapted brilliantly, and it just wasn't...
Well, when you say you adapted, that's been the criticism of Arsenal right throughout Arteta's time, hasn't it? This wasn't a one-off game. This wasn't like a tactical sort of setup that we've not seen before. And the probably question remains around it is it handbrake on or a lack of top-class players? What is it? Do you put that down to the manager or those players? Because when you look at the first half, and I find it difficult to have a go at Arsenal because they won the league, and as I said, you didn't lose a game in the Champions League and you've took PSG to penalties. But when I was watching the first half, they didn't create a chance. But I was watching it thinking, you've still got to make a few passes. You've still got to have a bit of... If you're the best team in England and they're the best team in Europe, there shouldn't be such a gulf in actually the idea with the ball. And it was only once, I think, in the first half, and I saw Miles Lewis-Skelly get the ball and he ran through midfield, he played it wide, and I thought, I know you're not going to dictate the game. They're better than you, I get that. But it shouldn't be such like where you couldn't keep the ball for 2 passes, now you're on the edge of your own box. A Champions League final shouldn't be like that.
We were letting them have it.
Well, why let them have it?
Because it was working until it didn't. We gave away a cheap penalty that didn't need to be done. Had we have not, we didn't concede an actual in-play goal.
No, but you have one shot on target in the game.
Yeah, that was it.
But this was the game plan, Jamie, and we got to penalties. If you would have told me before, you want to go to a penalty shot, I would have bit your hand off for it. It worked.
You think it's a missed opportunity? I think the tactical plan was really good, actually, and I do believe that to a certain degree there was a missed opportunity there. I say that because obviously Dembele was off, Carvajal was off, Marquinhos was off in extra time, and I think this is an opportunity now for Arsenal to go, tell you what, we don't want to go to penalties, we can do something in game. But I don't think there was ever that belief within the game that they could go and do something. I mean, Gyökeres was a struggle up front. He really struggled to do anything, any impact off the bench. I think he really struggled. If you can get someone in that area, you can be a different team.
We'll see.
I agree with that. I actually thought they were going to win it in extra time. When you actually saw the players on the pitch, I think Arsenal's team was better in extra time when you actually looked. Their 4 best players were probably off the pitch. Now, I know it's difficult in extra time. Everyone's a bit tired and things like that. And I understand. I'm not saying you should have took the games. I'm not saying that. I just felt there could have been a bit more courage in terms of actually when you had the ball to get on the ball a bit. Miles Lewis-Skelly, I thought, was done that 3 or 4 times, but I just wanted that courage from other people where it wasn't like, we got the ball back, Ray has gone long, we've lost it, or we've had 2 passes, we've lost it, and we all get back. It was almost like, you are the best team in England. You have not lost a game in the Champions League. It's a bit like, surely we can keep this, show for the ball a little bit more, boys. Let's have this courage to like open up a little bit, not to leave yourselves open defensively, but a bit more, come on boys, get on the ball. Sometimes when you get the early goal, something inside you, we've all been players where you've maybe got something to hold on to. That's the only thing I would say. And if you are what you're saying, this is the start of our journey in terms of going to win the Champions League, I think you just need to show a little bit more, have a bit more arrogance.
Yeah, they'll learn from it. They'll learn from it. You know, we've not been here before for 20 years now, and certainly not been under Arteta, and they'll learn from that. And I think that going into next season, we will have a little bit more arrogance about us now we know what it tastes like to win.
Do you think it was a penalty on Madueke?
I think no is the answer. I think if the referee did originally give it, I don't think he would have overturned it, and that's what's frustrating. He was very quick to give them a penalty, but no interest in ours.
Also, it was a penalty though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but from the referee's angle, you would have thought that that was a penalty as well. I don't know, there's just too much of a grey area. What I didn't like at all was him blowing half-time on the corner. I've never seen that.
That was amazing.
Mate, Saka was dilly-dallying over to the corner. Like,
Listen,
what do you want to do? Give him an extra 2 minutes? And that's a player that didn't turn up. You guys act like Saka's the second coming of Jesus and completed about 2 passes in the whole game.
Well, the way that he was instructed to play by Arteta was to track back and help defensively, which he did superbly, and unfortunately he couldn't get in on attack. I think he did his job defensively. I would have loved him to be a bit more ruthless going forward, but that wasn't the game plan. Wouldn't blame that on him.
Do you think it would have been slightly different if you hadn't scored so early?
Yeah, of course. We were holding on to the lead, and his job wasn't, I don't think, to get another one. I think it was to hold on. And I think he did well at that. It just, when you do that, you then nullify his attacking strengths.
Gabriel was fantastic. I thought him and Saliba were brilliant in the game. But were you surprised when he went for the penalty? Was there anyone else you were looking at thinking, you know, why is a centre-back taking it?
Look, this is very easy to have this debate. I think if you're a professional footballer, you should be able to convert from 12 yards. I know it's obviously the highest pressure penalty in the game. It comes down, I think, to bottle. I think whoever's there and wants to take it, takes it. I remember Bayern Munich-Chelsea in the Champions League final. I think Neuer took Bayern's third because he thought, fuck it, I'm having this. And Gabriel probably did the same. He's a bit like that. He's fearless.
Got to hit the target, don't you? 2, they didn't even hit the target. The keeper didn't make a save. How can you lose a game, a Champions League final, where the other keeper hasn't made a single save?
Well, you hit him off target.
Yeah, exactly. Wakey fighting for penalties 3-0 up and he'd nowhere to be seen. And
Well, this is the thing, this is what comes down. It comes down to bottle, and Gabriel, obviously being a leader, said, all right, I'll have this, and he missed it.
Do you think?
I respect Gabriel.
Do you think it was like not a showboaty way, but obviously the 5th penalty taker is normally like the glory penalty.
Yeah.
And you normally have like a more attacking-minded player taking that one.
Well, I think
Gabriel wanted to grab the headlines. I think, well, fast score this.
I think that when
why not take 2nd or 3rd, and why do you have to take
that's
the 5th
that's
as
a
centre half?
ridiculous
That
statement.
jumped off the page to me, though.
I said that to him before. I said I think Declan Rice should have took the 5th. And if he's going to take it, a defender, then
I'll tell you why
you've got a chance to turn it around then.
If you don't get there.
The problem with the 5th penalty taker, and this has happened a few times, and it happened to Ronaldo in a tournament a few years ago, right? Some people do want to take the 5th penalty and be the glory. I don't see that with Gabriel.
It's not just the glory though, it's also you can be the one that has to save it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It's a more pressure penalty. But the reason why you wouldn't waste one of your penalty takers on your 5th one, or say, let's say your best one or your number 2, because it might not get there.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than your best penalty taker not taking a penalty in a shootout. So your best penalty takers have always got to take, for me, one of the first 4. It's never over.
If you don't get there, then you've missed probably 2 out your first 3. So
Yeah, and we did miss one, so we needed someone to step up and slot it and get us back in it. They did.
Eze's record's not good from penalties either, is it? At Crystal Palace, Eze struggled from I don't know if you've seen some of his penalties for Crystal Palace as well.
I think he took a step penalty for Palace and then said, I won't do it again.
So he missed the penalty against Liverpool in the shootout of the Community Shield. And there's a video of Tyreek Mitchell afterwards looking at the big screen, and he's taking the penalty on it. And he says, you've got to put that in the bin, mate. And he's like, yeah, it's done. And yet he's done the same thing again. I think it's just muscle memory a lot of the time, because it's a high pressure thing, you know. And if you change your penalty stride and everything in that moment, then maybe you're more likely to miss. But I think he was waiting for the keeper to move, and then anyway.
Sometimes there's nearly too many variations. Like he stands up straight, and then he runs to the left, then he does a little like fast feet, and then he's. I mean, just something.
Shay, can I ask you? Because we were saying before about, you made a good point. I mean, the PSG goalkeeper doesn't make a save in the game, does he? In the shootout, or he obviously doesn't get anywhere near the goal, doesn't cover himself in glory there. But with the Eze one, I thought the keeper actually does well because he doesn't move. Is it hard not to move in a situation?
It's very difficult not to move. Yeah, it's very difficult not to move. And I suppose maybe he just stood there in the sense that I can't really read the run up. But then the thing is, Eze has to put it in the corner, doesn't he? He has to score. Because I think if he passes it in either corner, it's obviously stating the obvious. The goalkeeper hasn't got the time to react to keep it out then. But I think sometimes you can do too much. Like he starts straight to the ball, and then he runs to the left, and then he does fast feet, and then he does a stutter. Like sometimes there's too much going on there in the run-up. Do you know what I mean? And like John Aldridge, for example, would do a shimmy, like. But
a lot of them were doing that straight. A lot of them were straight onto the ball, and then all of a sudden
Gabriel did the same, didn't he?
You're overthinking it before you
didn't he?
Yeah. Every player has missed a penalty. It's unfortunate, you know. It happens. Shit happens. John Terry missed a penalty, he was crying, and he came back and won it. It happens.
But all I'm saying is, I don't think Eze's record from the penalty spot is good at all.
No, it's not.
I'm surprised that he's been stepped up to take one.
He missed one against Newcastle where he was waiting for the keeper to move.
Pope sort of fell in it,
and he barely moved, and obviously he's just put it down the middle because I think it sort of spun his head a bit.
Yeah.
You know, if you're waiting for the keeper to move and they don't move, it's going to be a problem.
Can we talk about the fucking Premier League, please?
Let's get back to it, because you said that you think this is the start.
Yeah.
So what do you think Arsenal probably need personnel-wise in terms of maybe to take it to another level in terms of? For me, I think you still need a centre forward and a left winger. I've felt that a year ago, and I still feel the same now. Even though we've won the Premier League, I still think there's probably areas where you could improve.
100%. I think we need to build around our core, stick together, and block out the noise. Now these players have got, they know what it tastes like to win. I am hopeful that they will get addicted to that feeling. If there's ever any lack of motivation, they can now go on their phones, look up the scenes from Tuesday night, look at the old people crying, look at the smiles on their faces when they're on the top of the bus at the parade. That should be enough for them to go out because they know what it feels like now. And, City have, I think, just landed their plane and we've just got off the runway and now it's time for a long flight.
Do you think, I think this is a great opportunity for Arsenal to really sort of kick on and be like almost the dominant force for the next year or two, because the other big six, if you like, I think 5 of them, besides yourselves, have all got new managers.
Yeah.
Or obviously, have I got that right?
Yeah.
5, yeah.
Arteta's the only one to have won it.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is,
manager.
there's going to be teething problems with some of those managers new to the Premier League.
Yeah.
Is that one of the reasons why you see this as like the opportunity that you've got to grab it?
Yeah, we're comfortable, and I think this is what I was saying before about we know we're going to go again. We know our future. These players, this gaffer, they're not going anywhere, whereas there's uncertainty around everyone else. So yeah, we've trusted the process. There's been a couple of bumps and there was points where I didn't trust it early on, but a few years down the line, no one's denying that Arteta's been given license to go out and spend the money, but he's got the recruitment right. He's got a team full of players that he's handpicked, that he loves, that he's turned into a family, and everywhere else is sort of kicking off a little bit. Your gaffer's gone. Sorry, mate, I'm not going to do this. I think you'll be all right next season. It's 3 games a week could
Don't worry about us.
Yeah, and obviously City, there's a big change. God knows what's going to happen to them. So
Arsenal, your players are going to be exhausted next season because you went all the way to the Carabao Cup final,
messed it up.
to the FA Cup semi-final, Champions League final.
They didn't make the semi. They got knocked out by some spies from the Champions
League. Quarterfinals. then they're going to the World Cup, right? And I think there's more games this World Cup, right? It's a bigger World Cup. And then they're going to go again in all the comps. And we know Arteta, he likes to play his favourites in every competition. You're going to see Declan Rice is going to be next.
No matter how successful you are, we can spin it in a negative.
It's unbelievable.
I know. Don't get to the Champions League final again or any other cup final.
Is that not going to be a thing where there's so much football
I think we'll be all right.